Well, hey fans, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Spoilers, and today we're talking spoilers for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So Black Panther Wakanda Forever is just an, a film. The fact that it was made and how it was made will forever be talked about in the annals of history. We all know the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman just left a big hole in this project, and Ryan Coogler, Kevin Feige, everybody involved had to figure out how to move forward with this project. Do we recast T'Challa? Do we have T'Challa die in the MCU? Do we try and recreate Boseman with like CGI to have him keep the role going? So many things going through people's heads, so many things. And overall, I enjoyed this film. I really enjoyed this film. I do not think it's as good as the first film, but considering everything around it, it is still a great watch. I believe I gave it a decent 8.9 out of 10 over on the website. Head over and check out my full review there. But yeah, it's amazing that Coogler was able to deliver such an amazing project, considering that they did not recast Chadwick Boseman and bring T'Challa back to the MCU, and they just moved on without him. And me personally, I am in the recast T'Challa camp. I think that the character of T'Challa in Black Panther is bigger than the actor portraying him. I would have loved for Chadwick Boseman to not have cancer and to continue to playing the role until he was done. But of course, you know, Coogler and Feige, they're all closer to him. I'm pretty sure they discussed it with his friends and family, and if just not recasting him is what they decided, so be it. There's nothing I can do about that. And like I said, the movie is good. It's like crazy how good this is, considering Chadwick Boseman is not starring in it. And he does appear in archive footage, and whenever you see him on screen, it is some of the it's just so sad. I had to hold back tears two or three times throughout this movie, and that's because I'm not a crier. I am not a big crier. Rarely do I cry in films. I think actually one of the last times I did cry was probably during Fruitvale Station, Coogler's like first big picture. I cried during that, and he almost got me again. Coogler is a master at dealing with grief and loss and pain and stuff of that nature. So basically, the plot line of this film is that King T'Challa has passed away. Wakanda is now being led by the Queen Mother, Queen Ramonda. And the world's like, look, T'Challa promised that Wakanda would share resources. You guys haven't really done that because y'all aren't sharing vibranium. We want some of that. Like, there's very little vibranium out in the world besides that big mound that you guys have in Wakanda. And Queen Ramonda's like, look, we don't share vibranium because we don't trust y'all with it. That's basically what she says. It's like, it's for your protection that we don't give y'all that stuff. And she gives this speech at the beginning of the film. Actually, let me get back to it. Let me back it up. The way the film opens is very powerful because it is Shuri praying to Bast to save her brother's life, and she will never doubt her belief in her again. And she's going into her lab, and she is trying to recreate the heart-shaped herb, since Killmonger burned it all in the last film, to give it to her brother to save his life because he is dying of some unknown illness. And in the background, you have Griot, her AI, who is voiced by Trevor Noah, just saying, your brother's heart rate is at like 30% or whatever, and it keeps dropping. And it just adds so much tension to the scene. You're like, we as the viewers know he's going to die. He's not going to make it. In the universe, she does not know. She thinks she can potentially save him. But they're trying to recreate the heart-shaped herb, and she doesn't really get a viable copy, but she makes it anyway, and then her mom comes in and looks at her. And she asks Griot, she's like, what is my brother's heart rate? And that's when it's revealed that he's passed away. It is so powerful, so sad. Only question I have about this scene is I understand her trying to recreate the heart-shaped herb because you need that to install a new Black Panther. But why was she trying to create it to save his life? That I didn't understand, because as the Black Panther, he should already have the heart-shaped herb in his body. And they don't explain if you take the heart-shaped herb, it only lasts like a year or a week or a few months if you have to keep ingesting it. They don't really explain that. So if that's the case, if it just wore off and he got sick and then he was going to die, I think they could have explained that better. But it's a powerful scene, very powerful, very emotional. One of the first things people might start crying on. And they do his funeral. Everybody's wearing white. Everybody's singing and dancing. It's emotional. His casket is all black and it is taken up by the Royal Talon Fighter. And then after this scene is when you get the opening credits. And it is the same opening credits. It's kind of different. They're like slightly different images. But when they redid the Black Panther opening credits, where it's all Chadwick Boseman, all T'Challa, all Black Panther, that's what you have here. But it's completely silent. There is no fanfare. There is no music. We are just taking in this moment and honoring Chadwick Boseman and the life he lived. And it is, I'm glad they did that. It was wonderful that they decided to do that. Could they have had music? Yes. If it were me, I would have did, what is it, Boys to Men? It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. That's what I would have did, something like that. But the fact that they did no music, it was powerful. And then we get to the scene. It's like a year later with Queen Ramonda talking to the UN and basically saying like, look, we're not giving y'all vibranium because y'all shiesty and we don't trust y'all. And at the same time, it's cutting to these French soldiers trying to attack a Wakandan outpost in like, not Nigeria, some African country that I should know the name of, because rappers talk about going there all the time. But I can't remember the name of it. But of course, the Dora Milaje is waiting for them, beats the crap out of them, doesn't kill any of them. And then at the end of Ramonda's speech, Okoye brings them to the UN, and then Ramonda's like, look, y'all take this as our good graces that we didn't kill all these mercenaries. And if this happens again, you're going to get the full might of Wakanda. Just because T'Challa is dead does not mean we are weak. She is so good. So proud. And you know what I said earlier, before I saw the movie, just from that trailer and hearing her speech where she talks about my entire family is gone, I was like, she's going to get an Oscar nomination for this film. And then after watching it, I was like, well, I don't know if they'll give it to her because I don't know if she's in it enough. But people have gotten Oscars for even shorter performances than hers. But after sitting on it for a while, I still do think she deserves it. Like that speech in the beginning, the speech she gives in the throne room, her performance overall, and it's just wonderful. And I'm going to miss her in this franchise because this is, let's talk spoilers, she does die later on in the film. And it is tragic. It is tragic. Like, there are two people in the MCU who have just had everything taken from them. They have been put through the ringer, and it is amazing that they are still alive. That is Thor Odinson, who has lost his father, his mother, his brother again. His brother finally had to fight his own sister, who is also apparently dead. Half of his people were slaughtered. It's like, and recently, the love of his life, Jane Foster, died. He has been put through the ringer, and it is crazy. That's why, and that is why Thor is one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and that is mainly because of what the Russo brothers did with him. They ruined Hulk, but what they did with Thor in Endgame and Avengers Infinity War was great. But Shuri is another character in the MCU who has just had everything taken from her. She lost her father. She lost her brother. She lost her mother. She lost her evil cousin that she didn't even know she had until like that first film. He's dead. Her uncle Njobu is dead, killed by his own brother. Her whole family is gone. She is the last one left. And it is her arc that we follow throughout this film. And it is fantastic because she is angry. She is so angry and she is so three-dimensional because, like many people who are scientific but also religious, those ideologies butt heads. They butt heads a lot. It's like, yes, I want to believe in God, but there's also science. And that is Shuri. And it's crazy because unlike in the real world where, there hasn't been a strong presence of God since the biblical days, back when Jesus Christ was born and around that time and after he was crucified. In Wakanda, like, she should easily be able to talk to the elders, talk to her brother, who, when he ingests the herb and is buried, he goes to the spirit realm. He can say, yes, I talked to Baba. I talked to all of our ancestors in the spirit world. But they make it seem like Shuri thinks that when they do these things, it's their minds playing tricks on them. And like I said earlier, she has that prayer to Bast at the beginning. You can tell she's still religious, but she's also scientific, and it conflicts. And especially once, I think that is ultimately taken from her when her brother dies. She prayed to her God to save her brother, and her God did not save her brother. And I think that is why she starts burying herself in the science. And her arc is fantastic throughout the entire film. She does become the Black Panther. The way they recreate the herb is genius, I think, and it works for this film because she is kidnapped by Namor, and of course, yes, I'll get into Namor, but she's kidnapped by Namor, and he gives her like this bracelet that used to be his mother's, and it is made from a vibranium fertilized plant, just like the heart-shaped herb. And she takes the fibers from that, plus like the burnt remains of the plant they have, and T'Challa's DNA, because he had the heart-shaped herb in his blood when he died. We have to believe that. And she is able to mix all that together and get a viable copy of the heart-shaped herb, and she 3D prints it and brings it back. And she gets the Black Panther powers. But the most powerful thing about that, when she takes the new herb and she goes to the ancestral plane, she's wanting to see like her brother, she's wanting to see her mother, her father, somebody who she can connect with. But who does she see? Michael B. Jordan comes back as Killmonger. That's who she sees. And it's because they're like, he tells her, he's like, nah, you summoned me here. And it's because deep down she's angry, and she wants to burn down the whole world. She's upset. Like, they've taken her mother, her brother, father. She wants revenge against Namor. And it's Namor who causes her mother to die because when they attack Wakanda and they flood everything. And she like comes out and she's angry and upset that she saw him and didn't get to see her brother, who she misses, who she loves. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And she gets the new suit, which is like black and gold, looks a lot like Killmonger's from the first movie, so I think they did that intentionally. Now, Namor, he is revealed to be like, I think they're like Mayan, like his people were Mayan, and when the Spanish conquistadors came to the New World and they started trying to take over stuff, enslaving people, getting resources, they brought smallpox with them and a bunch of other diseases. So Namor's mother's people, one of the shamans prayed to their god, and I can't remember which god it was. It's a Mesoamerican god, for like clarity on the situation, and he had him jump into the water and find this plant that was grown from a vibranium deposit, because apparently more than one vibranium asteroid hit Earth. One landed in the middle of Africa, which is where Wakanda is, and the other one landed in the ocean near the Yucatan Peninsula, I guess. And he found a plant down there, brought it up. They ground it up like they do with the heart-shaped herb. They ground this plant up, and they all drank the fluid. And Namor's mom didn't want to take it. She's like, look, I'm pregnant. I can't do this to my baby. I don't know. It could kill him. It could kill us. And they're like, look, you're dying anyway. You have smallpox. This will save you and your baby's life. And when your baby is born, he will be the first of our new race, and he will be our king. So she agrees to take it, and they all pass out. And the fluid from the fruit plant, flower, whatever it is, it turns them blue, and when they wake up, they can't breathe. So they run into the water, and then when they're in the water, they can breathe. And then, of course, Namor is born. They call him Kukulkan, which is the feather serpent god. And he is born a mutant. He has pointed ears. He has wings growing from his ankles, enhanced strength. Can fly with those wings, of course. He ages slower. He got like a really good mutation. And it's partially, I think, Namor's mutation, and I'm going to go back between Namor and Namor because that's just what I'm doing. His mutation is the winged ankles that he has that allows him to fly and the pointed ears. I think everything else came from his Talokan physiology from when his mom drank the liquid from the magical fruit or whatever. So, but he's also like way stronger than them. So he just pretty much got lucky with all the genes. And this man looks fresh. He's like covered in like pearls and jewels, and like he has like the typical green short shorts that he has on in the comics, but he has like all these earrings now. And it turns out that Talokan is like the underwater version of Wakanda. They have vibranium everywhere. And Riri Williams made a vibranium seeking machine that she just did it for a school project, and the government got a hold of it. They used it, and they're like, this might not work. Guess what? It worked. And they found some, and the Talokans are like, nah, F that, and they killed like most of the people on the ship. So I really did enjoy them throughout the film. I like how they were portrayed. There is a portion of the film where they kidnap Riri and Shuri and take them to Talokan. I think that is the part of the movie where they could have shaved off a bunch of that. Because in Captain America Civil War, we don't see Wakanda. We know that T'Chaka and T'Challa are from Wakanda, but we don't see it. And considering that Namor might get his own movie, they could have shaved off that part and saved Talokan for his solo film whenever we get that. But I digress. So they're an technologically advanced underwater city. There are some things about them that still kind of don't make sense. So when they take their version, we're going to call it like the underwater herb. When they take that and they turn blue and they go into the water, and that's when they can breathe. They don't really explain like really how that works. Like apparently like they still have lungs and they breathe in water through osmosis. So they don't really explain like, so do their lungs just not work anymore? Because you don't see gills anywhere on their body, and it's a strange, like I like explaining it in a scientific way. Like, all right, this is how they can breathe underwater. They absorb oxygen through their skin via osmosis, and they're super strong so they can withstand the pressure. But I would have probably liked it better if they could just breathe underwater and breathe on land. I don't think that we needed like some kind of explanation in the way that they did it. I just didn't think it was necessary. But also the Talokans, they incorporate like Greek siren mythology into their powers somehow. Like they come up from the water and they start singing. And when they start singing, when people hear it, they go into a trance and they jump into the water and drown themselves. I thought that was cool. I thought that was neat. They don't explain how in the world they can do that. Like, are they using technology to do that? Or is that like an ability they have now thanks to ingesting that plant? So I do think more stuff could have been explained. And also, speaking of like technology, they're supposed to be as technologically advanced as Wakanda. We don't really see it. I mean, like, they kind of dress like ancient Mayans or Aztecs. I can't remember exactly which culture they derive from, but they dress like that. They do use stuff such as like spears, and they have like a sun in their city underwater that they said they invented, but we don't really get any explanation of that or how they developed such technology like that. And that's why I think they should have kind of just saved all that for a Namor movie. And I don't know what that movie would be about. They do not show who Namor's father is. They just show that his mother is pregnant. And in the comics, I believe it is that his mother, in the comics, his mother was Atlantean and his father was like a sailor. So they may tie in his mutant heritage, and in his film, he finds out that he has a human father, and he becomes like a bridge of the two worlds, and he, while still not liking them, I don't know. There's some kind of villain. Maybe they bring in Doctor Doom. Maybe they bring in the Fantastic Four and bring in the X-Men. I think all of that can tie into a Namor movie. And another thing about Namor that I think they did well was incorporating the Mesoamerican heritage to the character. His name, I think originally in the comics, Namor was Roman backwards, and he was supposed to be from Atlantis, and that's more of like a Greek mythology type of thing. So I think that's where it came from. But here, after his mother passed away, she wanted to be buried on land. That's where she was born, that's where she was from. And they had been in the ocean for a while by this point. So he takes her there to bury her, and that's when he sees that all of the native people have pretty much been enslaved by these conquistadors. And that really upset him. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then so he reveals himself and then has the Talokanians, has his army basically slaughter all these people and free all the natives. And I think they incorporate them into Talokan. I guess they give them the fruit that gives them the powers to breathe underwater. And that's how they got so many people. But as this one Spanish guy lay dying, he says something in Spanish and pretty much ended it with no more. But if you say it fast in Spanish, it's like no more. So that's where Namor got his name from. It's a portmanteau of no amor, no love. There's no love in his heart, and he has no love for the surface world. I really did enjoy that aspect of his backstory. And I think that is, again, that's something that could have been explained a little more in a solo film, but I'm glad Coogler decided to put that in there. But, like I said, they capture Riri Williams. I really like her character. She's funny, she's bossy, she is intelligent. They don't really explain how she is as intelligent as she is. And they don't have to. I don't know. I think, and they'll probably go over this in Ironheart, the TV show. I just wanted a little more about her, I guess. If they were going to keep it as long as it was, I would have scrapped all of the Talokan stuff and did more on Riri Williams at MIT, because she has built an Iron Man suit. Did she just do it for fun? Does she idolize Tony Stark? We don't understand that. But one of the funniest scenes in the movie is when they're going to save her before Namor can get her. The CIA come to apprehend. It's Shuri, Riri, and Okoye. But they have this whole chase scene through the city that's pretty good, and Riri gets in her Mark I Iron Man type suit. And when they break in, one of the cops yells, "Oh shit, she got an Iron Man suit." That was one of the most hilarious lines in the entire film. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And yeah, she's just flying around in this Iron Man suit, and hopefully we get more information about why she wants to do that in her show. But, moving forward, they have this big conflict. The Talokans and Namor, they infiltrate Wakanda because they're really good at that somehow. Kill the Queen Mother, which is also very sad, and they have this big battle, and at the end, so Shuri, when she goes to Jabari Land to talk to M'Baku, they do the thing where they slap hands like in Predator, when Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers do the thing. They do that, and they start an arm wrestling match, and it's pretty much just to prove to him that she has recreated the heart-shaped herb, and she's the new Black Panther. So she basically says, we're going to get revenge on Namor and the Atlanteans for them killing my mother, and they go out to fight them at sea. And I do enjoy Letitia Wright as a Black Panther in this movie. It makes a lot of sense for her character's journey, but, and they kind of even show this in the film, she's not a good Black Panther. She's not a good Black Panther. She has all the strength, but she does not have the training. She's not a great fighter. And I'm going to dial that back. She does do some very acrobatic stuff in here that shows she does know how to fight. And she can definitely defend herself. But during her fight against Namor, she luckily comes out on top. Luckily she comes out on top. A lot of that could do with her anger blinding her and her really wanting to kill him. But I don't think she's the most skilled fighter for the position like her brother. He was very skilled. And yes, clearly she learned some moves from him. But moving forward in the third film, if they do so choose to make a third film with Coogler, I think Wakabi should become the new Black Panther. That should be the third film should be basically his redemption arc. And Shuri should stick to being the head of science. I think that is where she fits in. I think the beginning of the film should be her realizing, I am not a great Black Panther. I love my science and I want to stick to that. I don't want to keep having to go out to save the world, so to speak. And then Wakabi takes over the mantle until Toussaint, who is T'Challa's son, who's revealed in the post-credit scene, grows up and he takes on the mantle. They also do reveal that M'Baku at the end, he does become king, and Talokan and Wakanda form some kind of alliance because Shuri does not kill Namor during their fight. She spares his life. And it's a decent fight. They figure out how to beat him by pretty much drying his skin out and keeping him away from water. And he does say his popular line, what is it? Is it Indominus Rex? Not Indominus Rex, that's from Jurassic Park. Imperious Rex. But he says it in like Spanish or whatever the Mayan language is. I'm not exactly sure, and I should have looked it up before doing this. But he says that before she blows him up. She also cuts off one of his wings. We know that'll heal. Another thing about the film that I thought was kind of like was Riri Williams' final Ironheart suit. So she has that car part suit in the beginning. That is her Mark 1. Her Mark 2, it looks too clean. It looks pretty much like a Power Ranger suit. And the CGI is just, I don't know, it doesn't look as polished. And I get it, it's supposed to be made completely out of vibranium. It's supposed to be swanky. But I think they probably should have went with practical effects on that suit somewhat. Like with Iron Man, like Robert Downey Jr., he would wear like a practical chest piece, but everything else was CGI. That's what they should have did here. And it has like all these bells and whistles that I just don't think Riri needed so quickly. And with her show coming up, it's like her Mark III suit is going to be worse than her Mark II suit. So I want to know how they're going to, get her that Wakandan suit back or get her whatever her, suit moving forward is going to be. And like the only real issue I had with Wakanda Forever is the isolationism of it. You have T'Challa who has passed away. He was an Avenger. He was the king of this nation. He was friends with so many people. No other hero was at his funeral. Not Falcon, not the Winter Soldier, not Cap, not Hawkeye, not anybody who was left alive at the end of Avengers Endgame is at his funeral or is shown like mourning him. And it's just a little weird to me. It could have been like they were told about it and then they said, we're going to have a private funeral. That's fine. But I think it would have made sense to have more cameos in this film. It would have been nice to have seen Rhodey when they went to America. And he's like, I'm sorry about your loss. Or Captain America, Sam Wilson, like he just got his brand new suit from Wakanda, and like he can't express his thanks and his sorrow that they lost their king. That part of it, it just seems a little off to me because at this point in the MCU, you have all these solo adventures. It becomes harder and harder to justify why nobody else shows up. And I'm not saying they have to be there for the whole film, but to not even have them at the funeral just strikes me as odd. But it was an overall enjoyable film. It is a study on loss and grief and pain and healing. And I really did enjoy it. I think that Coogler has proven himself to be the best director Marvel has working for them right now. And I think that if he wants it, he should be given Avengers Secret Wars. And that James Gunn and Peter Safran over at DC, they should be scouting him heavily. They should be scouting him heavily to at least do one picture for them. So overall, Phase 4 is okay. It is nowhere near as good as Phase 3 or Phase 2. It's probably as poorly received as Phase 1. But the whole aspect of this phase has been grief and loss. Like I said in my review, to quote Vision, what is grief if not love persevering? So that's everything that's gone on in this. You got Shuri, she's basically lost everybody. Thor has basically lost everybody. Peter Parker lost Aunt May. Black Widow, well, she's dead. Her movie is a prequel. It really didn't fit. And Shang-Chi lost his mother, his father. Luckily, he reunited with his sister. Luckily, he didn't die. And yeah, and in terms of my favorite movies of Phase 4, and I'm not going to include the shows in this. I'll do my favorite shows in Phase 4 once I do the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. But in terms of my favorite movies in Phase 4, Spider-Man No Way Home is still number 1. That is my favorite film of Phase 4. Black Panther Wakanda Forever is number 2. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is number 3. 4, I guess, is Thor Love and Thunder. 5 is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Midness. Oh, I'm sorry, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And then Black Widow, and then Eternals. And that is my ranking for Phase 4. It may change in the future. We'll see upon numerous rewatches. We'll see how it is, but that is how I feel at this moment. But that will do it for me, guys. You can watch this video and read the full review over on the website, flipfrogllc.com/flixfrog. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, everybody, hey, please, come here. Come do this one thing for me. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Yes, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, the website, anything and everything Flixfrog, Flipfrog Books. Hit that thumbs up button, like, and follow. I got a lot of good stuff coming for you guys. Trust me, I just need you to up my followers. That's really what I'm asking here. Just up my followers up from what it is. My next Let's Talk Spoilers is probably going to be Tales of the Jedi. It's time to hop back on that Lucasfilm train. I was hoping I'd get it done before Wakanda Forever, but I got a lot going on in life right now. So yeah, I'm going to get Tales of the Jedi out to you guys, and then we'll see what else I can fit in before the end of the year. But until next time, I'll be seeing you.